welcome to the channel. This is Nerd.World. Today we're taking a look at a class of human vessel from the Doctor Who universe. Now, human ships are not very widely explored in Doctor Who. They're usually not the central focus. It's usually an alien battlecruiser or an alien ship. Human vessels tends to be a freighter or a civilian ship, but in this case it's a rather interesting one. We're looking at the SS Madame de Pompadour and her sister ship, the SS Marie Antoinette. These two vessels are very interesting for their fairly, well, Doctor Who level storylines. Before we get started though, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, as it all helps the channel grow. With that said, let's get started, and we'll start with the Madame de Pompadour. This class of vessel was a type of energy trawler. It had a forward and an aft rotary section on the ship, which partly doubled as A, generating a gravity field to the vessel, but also B, collecting up and scooping up dark matter, which was used as both as a power source of the vessel and for storage to be converted as an energy source for other starships or facilities or whatever else was dark matter powered. The vessel had a backup warp drive as well, which was actually powerful enough to create a wormhole that could, probably inadvertently, also traverse time, which is what would happen to the Marie Antoinette, as well as intentionally by the robots aboard the Madame de Pompadour, but we'll get to that. The Madame de Pompadour was damaged in an ion storm. Now, these vessels were crewed by a crew of about 50 humans, but they also had on board a number of sort of mechanical humanoid robots that were there for service and maintenance purposes, but probably due to a glitching in the programming, they were designed to programmed to fix the ship at all costs, which no one anticipated would also mean the cost of the crew when the ship was irreparably damaged in the ion storm. Engines down, power down. In order to repair ship's systems, the main computer, which had developed a sort of quasi-pseudo-semi-sentience, decided that the crew were expendable, but their body parts could be used and converted into organic replacements for some of the ship's systems. So that's what it did. They set the robots on the crew, who then cannibalized the crew to repair the ship. But because it was both really smart and really dumb, the vessel's main computer, which was damaged, believed it needed a human brain to repair it. Now, it could have used any of the brains of any of the humans that it had already cannibalized, but because the ship was called the Madame de Pompadour, it decided that it needed the literal Madame de Pompadour's brain. And with some modifications to the ship's warp drive, they were able to create windows through time, but they couldn't focus it accurately, and they ended up back in time on Earth throughout the different windows going into the different lifespan, different periods of life of Madame de Pompadour. But because the ship was 37 years old, they believed that she wasn't ready yet. They had to look for her through all the time windows until she was 37 years old, and then her brain could be harvested to repair the ship's main computer, although I somehow doubt that would really have fixed this ship's problem. Obviously, the Doctor stepped in and prevented this from happening, saving her life and shutting down the robots. And the vessel, according to some novelizations, would later be salvaged with all the robots switched off on board, and the ship's computer believing itself to literally be Madame de Pompadour and very confused about what was going on. But that's sort of from the from novels and stuff. Now, the other ship, the Marie Antoinette, suffered a fairly similar disaster. There was some kind of malfunction with the ship's engines, which opened up a wormhole that sent it back in time millions of years. It then crashed on Earth due to the damage caused by this time displacement. It literally arrived back probably in the late Cretaceous. They once again, the robots, cannibalized the crew to try and repair the ship. Unable to do so, the machines began cannibalizing any creature they could find to keep the ship going, as well as to keep themselves going. And after millions of years of doing this, eventually encountered in the Victorian era London buried underground, still doing this, harvesting organs. The machines believed that they were journeying to the promised land, some kind of Garden of Eden, where they would be at peace and finally able to stop. But they'd been literally at this for millions of years by this point, and there was no end in sight. The Doctor again was able to stop them after they were discovered, after they destroyed a time-displaced Tyrannosaurus Rex, after stealing certain parts of its body for, again, modification to their ship's subsystems. They were also stealing from humans, such as eyes, cardiovascular systems, and skin, to create a large balloon to be used as an emergency escape vehicle from the ship, which after millions of years was far beyond repair. And as the Doctor put it, every system had been replaced and replaced and replaced, so that by this point there was nothing left of the original ship. There was nothing that could really be repaired anymore, and it was the same with the androids. They'd replaced every component in their bodies, mechanical or otherwise. One of them, the head machine, had replaced so much of itself with organic components that it was now a cybernetic organism going the other way. It was more man than machine, and it had originally started out as machine. He was able to convince it, as it was somewhat becoming more human through this conversion, that it was wrong and it needed to stop. There was no promised land. There was never going to be an end to this. It had been at it for 66 million years, and what did it gain? What had it achieved? Nothing. The ship was still broken. In fact, it was probably worse. They were basically trying to get home the long way around. But the 51st century was still a long way off, and countless thousands of humans plus other animals were probably going to have to die for these machines to get home, and it was just a futile, pointless endeavor by this point. But there was definitely a flaw with the design of these starships. The fact that the machines were made homicidal, even unintentionally, was something of a design flaw. The vessel was only designed to literally harvest dark matter, not build sociopathic killbots that would murder their own crew just because of a glitchy circuit board. Not even their own glitchy circuit board, just any old glitchy circuit board. And it's like, yeah, your brain matter can fix that. But I do find the design of the vessels interesting. When I first saw them, I thought it was kind of almost Babylon 5-ish, with the big rotational hull sections generating gravity, which isn't something you see very often in Doctor Who. But it turns out when you do some research into them, that's not the main function. It's more of a happy byproduct. The vessels can generate gravity quite happily without them. It's just they utilize that motion while it's doing it to create a cheap gravitational system along with the big scoops that are basically sucking up all that dark matter as it flies through dark matter nebulas, sucking it all in, scooping it all up. The vessels are incredibly fast as well, with both warp and dark matter engines, giving it enormous power and speed, able to cover huge distances very quickly. But again, major design flaw of if those systems go offline, the robots on board are going to kill all the crew in order to fix the ship. And there we have it. One of the few relatively explored human vessels ever in Doctor Who canon. Seriously, you learn more about Dalek ships and cyber ships and Sikarat vessels. And you think about cyber ships would be, at least in the newer continuity, basically human vessels anyway, because the Cybermen of this timeline now are human origin, not Mondasian. But anyway, there's all kinds of different alien vessels explored, but there's not that many human ships, which I think is a great shame. You don't really see enough of them, and when you do see one, it's always some boring rocket. It's like all these other aliens have big, cool, whirly things and spinny things on their ships. And we've just got a rocket. So dull, so boring, it's so unimaginative. And that's one of the things I like about more modern Doctor Who, that the human vessels are a little bit more fleshed out. And ships like this stand out as a result to me. That there's something I can sink your teeth in and say, yeah, that's a human vessel. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, yes, it's full of death bots, but no one's perfect. The ship's still prettier than a rocket. Anyway, with that said, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you think. You remember these episodes of Doctor Who? They appeared in 2 separate ones. From, I believe, the The second one was from Peter Capaldi. I forget if the Madame de Pompadour was... It was David Tennant, wasn't it? It was a David Tennant era. Anyway. What do you think of them? Did you like them? Hate them? Think they're stupid looking? Just as boring as any other human vessel from Doctor Who? Or are they actually stand out? And bye-bye.